Boston Celtics have found a hidden gem in Drew Peterson as he has been electric for the Celtics in his two recent games, in which he's able to actually showcase his playing style. And Drew Peterson, being a two-way player on this team, could be the next guy to ensure himself a standardized contract similar to Namus Keita at the end of last year if he keeps up this play. And Joe really does trust and believe in him. So we're going to be diving in, looking at how impactful he's truly been for this team and what role could he really play for the Celtics team in the future. We're going to be diving into all of that and more on this episode of Celtics Digest. I'm Bruce Velez, and you guys have been absolutely fantastic showing your love and support over on the channel. We really do appreciate it. So if you want to make sure you stay up to date on everything, keep hitting that like button and come through for the stream tonight with Nick NBA at 6 p.m. to discuss everything Boston Celtics so far and these first month or so into the season. But without further ado, let's dive into the video at hand. Make sure to grab a snack. And like I said in the introduction, the Celtics have found a hidden gem as Drew Peterson is up next, as he is one of those guys who has been the next guy to showcase his skill set for this Celtics team and really emerge himself in this rotation. And a guy who's on a two-way contract could be that next guy, like I said, to secure himself a standardized deal. Now, Peterson was acquired halfway or a little bit into the season last year when the Celtics went out and waived Jay Scrubb, as he obviously tore his ACL rehabbing or scrimmaging with the Celtics. That allowed them to kind of explore, look at some more two-way spots, and the Celtics went out and used that to go and get Drew Peterson and Namus Keita. And when by going out and getting those players, it allowed them to showcase their skills. Peterson had previously played on the Miami Heat G League, but was never able to work his way up to a real rotational spot. But he was gifted a two-way with the Celtics and was a key piece for the main Celtics last year, mainly prioritizing and playing down there. But Peterson has been given the green light recently from the Boston Celtics, as we saw in his previous two games. Peterson has been given at least 25 minutes a night, and this is in two back-to-back instances. Peterson on December 1st versus the Cavaliers heard his name called and was jumping for joy and played a pretty solid role. He was 2 for 6 from the field, 2 for 5 from 3 with 4 rebounds and 1 steal, holding his own on the defensive side. And Joe rewarded that with some extra playing time in last night's contest as well, where he was able to produce 7 points, 2 for 5 from the field, 2 for 5 from 3 with 7 rebounds and 1 assist. And Peterson was has a knack for crashing those boards and was being an excellent defender as well, holding his own against some of these Miami defenders. But Peterson also was showcasing to the Celtics that he could be that three-point volume scorer that we all love and know. Peterson, who is known for his three-point scoring, had hit some big-time shots for the Celtics and was key for looking like a new piece. And talking with Drew Peterson, Bobby Manning talked to him before the game and said, Drew, how is it a great story of being surprised by throwing into the Celtics game? And he said, usually when I hear Drew, it's referencing to Jrue Holiday. So Drew was a little bit shaken when obviously Joe called his name, but was excited to get in there, receive some great text messages from family and friends, which is absolutely great to see. And ultimately just was ready to go and stepped up big time for the Celtics when needed most. Sam Hauser was out last night for some personal reasons, so Drew Peterson went and took that role from him. And Joe Mazzulla also had some things to say about Drew Peterson. Always like the guys who are better defensively than people think they are. Like Sam Hauser, he's a better defender than people give him credit for, and I love to hear that as well. As like we saw with Peterson last night, he got 7 rebounds, but also played some phenomenal defense in the paint. And like I've preached with Sam Hauser on this channel over the last season, both of these guys are solid paint defenders, and can they hold guys in front of them and make sure that the guys don't blow by them is that key. And that's the first step to getting better as one of these defenders. And what we can see with Peterson is he is learning things from guys like Kristaps Porziņģis, learning things from guys in those two-way guys, but also learning stuff from guys like Sam Hauser, Baylor Sharman, similar playing styles, similar playing types, which has allowed him to kind of ascend into this role. And we saw Peterson last night really get the jump over a lot of these guys. Guys like Jaden Springer didn't come into the last minute. Peterson got more run over him. Xavier Tillman was thrown into that big man rotation as obviously the Celtics were a little short-handed, but Peterson was looking more impactful and getting more playing time through him. And it seemed like the Celtics were trying to get Drew Peterson acclimated. And what it really shows to me is that Peterson could be that next guy on the way up. So let me know what you ultimately think down below in the comment section on Peterson's playing. But I want to get into the next part here, which is kind of what this means for Drew Peterson's future. Because like I mentioned in the introduction, Peterson could be a guy who could be staying here long term if the Celtics really do find a role and if Joe Mazzulla really does appreciate him. If we want to look at the Celtics roster, like I mentioned, Peterson is one of the three Celtics on a two-way deal alongside JD Davison and Anton Watson. And JD Davison is shattering records over in Maine as he has been an absolute beast. He is now the all-time points, all-time assists, and all-time steal leader for that club. An absolute gracious award for him, and he deserves to get some time in the NBA after this for achieving all those awards. But with the Celtics having a logged jam of guards already, and with Springer not really seeing much time, it's going to be hard for Davison to crack that rotation. And Watson is a little bit raw, has some untapped potential, and the Celtics do believe in him from his great summer league, but haven't seen that really blossom through. But with Peterson, they've seen him rise through the occasion, and with having Sam Hauser out and missing that shooter off the bench, Joe felt confident to let Peterson unleash himself, and Peterson proved that for Celtics fans. And on a two-way contract, I truly believe that he can be the next guy to come up. Like we saw similar last season, the Celtics at the trade deadline went out and made moves and were supposed to bring in that final roster spot for their team at the trade deadline. And what Brad Stevens went out and did was not that. He went out, traded away Lamar Stevens, went out and traded Delano Banton, brought back Jaden Springer, brought back Xavier Tillman, but still kept that roster spot open, was still making moves. And eventually, Neemias Queta was gifted that final roster spot as the Celtics needed that additional front court help, and he was the best player on a two-way deal that the Celtics fans had seen. But similarly, I think something could happen with Drew Peterson this season. We've seen with the NBA, with them now getting three two-way contracts, that a lot of franchises have left that final roster spot open in preparation just in case an injury happens and they need to bring an extra two-way guy up, or if they want to convert a two-way guy to a standard deal similar to what we've seen with the Celtics or with the Grizzlies. It's a little bit easier to then sign a guy to a two-way contract, to then just find a random guy in free agency to sign him to a standardized deal. And as the season dwindles down and obviously the G League season starts to fade away, players like Peterson, Davidson, and Watson aren't going to be getting that playing time as their season's already done. So picking one of those guys up and having them as just an extra body, extra legs on the bench, just in case you need a little extra spark, or just in case one of those players that plays a similar role goes down with an injury, you have that backup plan. And I see Drew Peterson becoming that for the Celtics this season. I think ultimately we're going to see Peterson get an expanded role, maybe not 10, 15, 20 minutes every single night, obviously, but in nights where the Celtics are shorthanded, I would expect Peterson to be the main guy, kind of ironic, but the guy from Maine being that main one, getting the call, possibly being brought up and kind of playing with this team. And if the Celtics do need that additional shooting or want to experiment with Peterson maybe against some of the lesser teams towards the end of the season, they are able to do so. And then Peterson can get kind of acclimated and ready to go with this squad heading into the playoffs. And if Peterson can ensure himself getting that standardized contract, the Celtics could do something similar with Neemias Queta last season going into free agency, where they don't obviously give him a veteran minimum contract, but they give him some sort of rookie scaling-esque type of contract that is going to be a little bit cheap, but lock him up for a certain amount of years, so Peterson can stay long-term with this Celtics roster. And having more shooters on this roster is not going to be bad, even though they already have Sam Hauser, even though they have Baylor Shireman already in the works. Adding another player in Drew Peterson is definitely not going to hurt. And as we've seen with the Celtics, Mazzulla ball is key. Shooting three-pointers is key, as Derrick White, Jayson Tatum, and Peyton Pritchard are three of the leading three-point shooters across the NBA, and adding another one, a great volume one in Drew Peterson, to learn from other players as well, more experienced players, and obviously Sam Hauser, who's been in the NBA for a while, Baylor Shireman, who's a little bit of a similar age, I believe he's a little bit older, but having those other role models that play similar play style will make him feel more comfortable and make him feel better to continue to grind, and I think will ultimately bring the best out of Peterson for him in the NBA and for the Boston Celtics. But let me know what you guys think down below. Like I said, I think the Celtics have found a hidden gem here in Drew Peterson that no one really knows about, and I think it is going to be key for the Celtics. They're already a top-tier team in the Eastern Conference, and if they're finding these hidden gems left and right and just adding them to their nucleus, this team could win not maybe back-to-back championships, but 3, 4, 5 championships in the next 6 to 10 years and start another dynasty. But you guys have been absolutely fantastic. Let me know what you guys think down below in the comment section on Drew Peterson. Like I said, if you want to come out to the stream tonight, come join Nick and I. And if you're not part of the 69% who are not subscribed, make sure to hit that subscribe button if you're at this point in the video to help us get to our goal of 6,000 subscribers before the start of the new year. Like I said, you guys have been absolutely fantastic. Thank you guys so much for tuning into this episode, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Have a great rest of your day, and go Boston Celtics. See you all at 6 o'clock if not, enjoy your rest of your day.